What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Young Thug earlier this year said that he wasn't going to release any music in 2018 in support of his deaf brother. And long since, he's changed his tune. Back in April, we got the Hear No Evil EP. It was real quick fire, it was good. And now he's back with another project titled Slime Language. As I mentioned in my review of the EP, I think Thug does more good releasing music with the message attached to it in, the cover and the rollout than if he were to just remain silent for the entire year. I like that the covers have incorporated, sign language in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how effective it is in spreading the message, but I think it is good. It's a good thing nonetheless. So this is not a Young Thug solo album or mixtape. This is labeled as a compilation from Thug's YSL Records, which happens to have Young Thug on every song. In that regard, it feels less of a showcase of YSL and more just a Thug project with more guest features than normal. Unfortunately, most of the guest features on Slime Language feel like unnecessary clutter. I think that I don't yet trust Young Thug's ear for talent yet. I don't think he's signed anybody who really makes me feel like, damn, he is the next person or she is the next person. The problem with this project is that even though it is technically a showcase, it never really feels that way. Nobody is stepping up to stand out. I'm thinking of Gunplay on Cartoon and Serial, or Nicki Minaj on Monster. Where's the verses from these newer artists that are going to be quoted and appreciated and really elevate them to the next level? Unfortunately, I don't hear any of that on Slime Language. As it pertains to who has next in the industry, Gunna is someone who always comes up in the conversation. He's featured on 4 songs here. I've listened to his solo material as well as these 4 guest features, and I'm trying to really understand what sets him apart from anybody else. I don't hear anything unique or special about him. I think his flow has a lot of precision to it, but that seems to be all that he has going for himself. So, I don't know. If you're watching this and you're thinking, well, I love Gunna, explain to me why. I'm trying to understand it. I've asked a few people, but I don't know if I'll ever get it. I think when it comes to a new artist in this day and age, I look for something that is new or unique. Not everything is going to be like mind-blowing. There's going to be artists that come out that have a similar sound, but they do something different that makes you feel like, damn, this is good enough for me to appreciate. My musical relationship with Young Thug has been very up and down over the years. The first time that I really gave him a chance was with the Rich Gang mixtape, the Tour Part 1. I think that is a classic, and nothing since then, in my opinion, has matched that same level, has matched that focus. I don't know if it was Birdman executive producing or Rich Homie Quan really bringing out the best in Thug, but I just love that mixtape so much. I say that to say that over the years since, I've only been able to find, songs here and there that I like from Young Thug. Slime Language is no different. On this project, there are a small handful of records that I would consider keeping and playing long term. You have Gain Clout, and this record sounds like, wow, Thug is in his pocket with the flow. It's like he did the fusion dance with the beat. I think one of Thug's strengths is understanding when to do what to the beat. Like this beat, if you listen to this beat and you heard it for the first time and you didn't hear Thug's vocals but you knew it was going to Thug, you would say he has to spaz on this. And that's exactly what he does. I have to give a lot of points to Ottomeyer because of the hook. This hook is just, it's real fun. I think it's also eccentric to where Thug is really the only person I think that can pull this off. I love when Thug gets into into the zone per se and does like all these multiple voices. He goes high, he goes low. He's able to use his voice as an instrument, as many people have said in the past, and plenty of people will continue to say as Young Thug continues to put out music. Another record on here that I really enjoyed was STS. It features an artist named Strick. Never heard of him before, but I was impressed with the guest feature. I thought it was good, thought it was solid, and then I like that this record is more kind of R&B-ish. It's less energy, and that's a good thing because a lot of the music on here is a lot more high energy, and so I think there's good balance with having STS on the project. Now my only complaint would be it should have been a little bit earlier in the track listing, you know, kind of break up the energy that you have with some of the other records on Slime Language. From there though, it gets a little bit difficult to appreciate the rest of the music as a whole. The power of a guest feature. It can elevate a song to new heights or it can bring it down substantially. For example, January 1st has a really good, if not cliche, hook from Jacquees. But then you have Trap Boy Freddy and his verse just feels like a letdown. And so for me, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like, Thug is doing good on here, this is solid, but then the value of the song comes down because the guest feature is not able to match that same level. I think ultimately this project would have flared better if it wasn't, in a sense, a Young Thug project. Like, Thug doesn't need to be on every song if this is a compilation. But it feels like at the very last minute, this became marketed as a compilation for the label as opposed to just being another Young Thug mixtape. Which leads me to some of my final thoughts. I don't really understand Young Thug's career. It seems like we're 5 months or so away from hitting 2019. I don't think Young Thug's debut album is coming out this year. I have no clue when it will. And at this point, it's like, is the debut album even going to be separate from the mixtapes? It's kind of hard to figure out what Young Thug is going to do as an artist that can really elevate his debut album to be more exceptional than just the projects that he's been putting out. I think one thing to note is that his label 300, they don't feel like the right fit for Thug. I think Thug is a fan favorite on the internet, in the same vein of a Travis Scott. And you see Travis Scott's numbers, he's sitting here putting up, 500,000 first week. Now I'm not saying Thug can do that or ever be able to do that, but I feel like the numbers versus the hype versus the love that Thug gets, they just don't match. And I think as a label, you'd have to understand how to market somebody a little bit better to fit in that aspect. So I think a major label would be able to figure out, okay, Thug is very popular, but the numbers aren't matching. What can we do as a label? And also Young Thug and his team can look down and sit and look down and say, well, this is what we could do to improve, to elevate, to make the numbers match the hype. Slime Language is good from a Young Thug standpoint, but ultimately it loses a lot of value from these guest features that don't feel like anybody is contributing anything special. Nobody is standing out. Nobody is sitting here trying to grab the brass ring per se and become like the next superstar on this project. I'm not blown away by anybody, but I do like Young Thug's contributions. So those are my thoughts on Young Thug's YSL Records compilation titled Slime Language. After you listen to this one, talk to me in the comment section below. Explain Gunna to me. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at @SermonsDomain. Check out some of my other content, reviews, interviews, discussions, etc. As always, I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.